I'm Farheen. I'm based in here for like past 5 years or so, and I started off as a copywriter. Like I'm still a copywriter. I love making copies. I do contents in terms of writing and stuff. So it all started with writing captions. I didn't know. I am an accountant from a field of finance. So when I was working with an accounting company, more like a company under DAFSA, and then I came to know like it's not my cup of tea, and my manager was like, Farin, this is not your work. I've seen you scribbling down or writing down things but never do a calculation, so it's not your thing. You can resign from here, I can even pay you, but you please go and do what you like. So that was the first insight that I got, like I'm not meant for accounts. Then I gradually got into the writing part.
How did you come to, let's say, how did you discover creative content or copywriting is your cup of tea?
Honestly, let me tell you, when we do something and we feel like we don't get bored of it, like we feel like we are getting ideas and insights in such a way that it just happens over. And when it might be sometime later we see that okay, these are the tips that we should be actually doing, but these just comes out from ourselves. I enjoy writing things for people, even for breakup text. I have written for breakup text such a long essay. I am good at writing. I am good at conveying emotional things. So from drafting emails and stuff. In my accounting company, I used to draft emails. So he's like, bro, you're good for this and not for that. So it's like, okay. Then I found interesting, and you know what? I just at a glance switched my CV from an accountant to someone who's into digital. I had a very little portfolio about digital, but I switched and I marketed it in such a way that they felt that, okay, she's a big giant from a marketing thing. I don't know where, but I was in social media about my calligraphy thing. So I had things to talk about social media on my profile and stuff. So I made the resume in such a way that I got into a multifaceted, it was a group of companies, and they had around like 19 verticals under them, and I happened to be into digital marketing of that company. And I do the writing part, I do the social media part and everything. So I had my own team and good number of people along me. Maybe I was more like guiding or having a little bit of a position where I can manage them.
So you mentioned about your experience. So till that point of time, you were an accountant. How did you land your first job as a copywriter, or what was the winning criteria there? Since you had no experience in copywriting, creative content.
I don't know. They just gave, it was a group of companies, the first job, and they wanted me to write something that was out of the topic. It was for a processing company, for a fish processing company. And I had no idea of what it is about. They told me to write the whole website content, revamp the website content and draft a mail and stuff like that. So I just quickly had a research. It was on the table. People were there looking at me and looking and sitting, and I literally had to write it up. So I wrote something and they found it very interesting, and I just got hired.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so how long have you been working in the content writing field?
About 4 to 5 years by now.
That's great. That's amazing. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Instagram has an influence over creativity?
Instagram fosters creativity. So when it comes to creativity, people who are creative go out of the box to bring something of their own and explore their creativity. I've seen that. I've witnessed that. And there are a lot of repetitive contents happening. If somebody does, and then there is a repetitive methodology that's happening over Instagram. But I think there are a number of people who sticks to the creative part, who feels like they should be delivering quality contents over quantity. And then there are people who want reach, as in they are focusing on reach and to be visible around. So it depends on how they choose to emanate themselves. So it generates an urge to create something in people. For the people who really wanted to do something, I felt like they really pushed themselves to do something. To an extent, it has a good impact that people have been generating incomes out of it. They are literally making use of the fullest of the potential what they have. Then there's another area where we feel they're exploiting it and stuff. So I think that it has both of it.
As an agency owner, as an entrepreneur, anything, there were ways to grow your social media profiles. But now one thing in particular is that you're supposed to follow trends. Like there are some trends which it's like mandatory. Like if I don't want to follow that, I'll probably be left out. Do you think I'll be left out as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? Am I forced to follow reels, or what's your take on that?
There is this algorithm methodology that you should be doing reels for the reach.
Right.
For the reach value. So it depends on the agency or the niche or the company that through which method they want to emanate themselves. So I won't tell you to hop on any trends or dance. The agency should dance on a music as such, but maybe Instagram focuses very much on its visibility, and it's such a platform for visual language. So I feel that anything we can put visually and connect people, maybe in case of an Instagram, we can add a hook text with a good music, with a good visuals, it clicks. But when we hope on trends and when we focus more on trends, there are chances that we might lose the brand emotion or value that we have been building over the years. And but it depends. It still depends on the niche.
When it comes to content strategy, let's say I am following different platforms. I have Instagram, I have YouTube, I have TikTok. I'm supposed to have a different strategy for each platform, right? So how would you go about it? So as a restaurant, for example, would I cross-post the same content on all the platforms, or am I supposed to have different content on each platform? What's your take on that?
So cross-posting is easier. It's very easy. But I would say, so I've been dealing with content strategy for past 2.5 years for brands, and I would say we need different strategy for different platforms.
Right.
It's easier we even have softwares where at a click we can post on everywhere. So we need different strategy. Just like I told you, on Instagram we need visually emanating things. Based on LinkedIn, we need something which is of industrial insights, which hooks the people with articles or which has an industrial value of it. In TikTok, it's a whole different story. Then in YouTube also, it's another story. So we need a team, we need people who has this potential to strategize the content in such a way that in different platform, it looks different. Though the idea or the content inside it might be the same. It gives out the message of the same value, but it should be driven in different methods in each, I would say. So even when we are doing the content strategy part, when I do for brands, we don't batch it for more than 2 months, because we need to be constantly working on the strategy part. I cannot make a strategy for a company for 1 year and say this is your strategy. No. Maybe for social media, we have seen people dealing with that, but I would say that is not the right method to do it. Maybe with every 2 years or maybe weeks, we might have created a calendar for a company for 30 days already, and I would say come up with saying like, no, we should be adding this also. There is this interesting idea that we can add on. So they'll be like, okay, yeah, we can go ahead with this. So this field of ours is like requires constant action from our side, constant thinking from our side. Right. So it's same in terms of content strategy. I think we need to be constantly revising it or thinking over it, and just
what should I be ideally posting on Instagram? What should I be ideally posting on TikTok?
I think both has different type of audience. Just like previously we used to say Instagram and YouTube, it has different kind of audience. So in Instagram we can literally post anything that has a visual value. In TikTok also, but TikTok is more over trends and music, I would say. Entertainment side of the content. But there are people who would say that they really get good leads from TikTok ads. There are many aesthetic clinics and medical centers who are getting good results from TikTok.
In your opinion, are females better content creators?
No, it's nowhere dependent on gender, I would say.
But when I scroll through a lot of profiles, it's mostly females who has like a better number of following, reach, all of those metrics.
So that's evident.
That's why I came up with this question, really.
That's there because we are I don't know how to put into words, but that's there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So let's say I'm hiring an influencer for a brand. What do I look at for an influencer before hiring them? Are there any metrics or anything that I should look at?
Yeah, you can definitely look on the engagement rate. I would say not to look on numbers of followings or likes, because it's very easy to purchase everything.
Right.
So it's better you look into engagement rate, the previous collaboration that they have done before, especially if you're going up with an aesthetic clinic, means you can just see what if they worked with any of that sort. How do they put their content forward, the quality of it, and how do they present it. It's basically the engagement rate. Even if it's a very minimal number of following, if they have a good engagement rate and good potential, be it micro influencers, so I think you should go for that, because there are more views and more takings from them than the other.
Right. Do you think brands can survive without advertising, with just content marketing, organic marketing? Do you think a brand can reach that height without advertising?
And for any brand, be it who has been in the market for like 70 years or 40 years or 100 years by now, they might have leveled up in every ways in terms of their marketing strategies and everything. So when we are trying to put ourselves or place ourselves in this current market and emanate ourselves as connecting for this generation, it's well and good. So I would say marketing is important, advertising is important in every ways, for be it the brands who have been here or be it the brands who are coming up.
As a content strategist, you've probably had this word creative block. You've had a creative block. Can you tell us like one instance where you had a creative block?
Whenever things comes around like too much personal that we cannot handle the other way around, we get the creative block. So it still depends on how we pull ourselves, but still I would pull myself to work, because for me what I feel is like when I'm working, I'm at my fullest potential kind of a thing. So I try my maximum to be always working on loving what I do and stuff.
What is that one AI tool that you always go for when it comes to content writing?
Initially, I think I have used HubSpot, and now that I have phrased a strategic thing of my own, inshallah, hopefully I'll be launching it on my own like soon, inshallah. Where
you're launching a product on your own?
Yeah, that sticks. It's not a software. It's not a software, but it just helps people who want to do a content strategy. It's going to be one place where you can put everything about the strategy. So that's what I'm trying to, hopefully it goes well.
Another question that I had is static posts versus reels. After the introduction of reels, static posts, the kind of reach is like very bad. So if I don't have resources to, shoot, edit reels and everything, can I only survive on static posts, or do I 100% I need reels?
But let me tell you, carousels are still live.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Carousels are still live. And when we talk about static posts, it does go up, but it's highly demanding when it comes to reels. But have you ever felt that reels nowadays don't need to have shot on a really big camera or aesthetics or things like that? The more we casual it, the more reach it goes. So be it static, be it carousel, be it reels, I think we got to be delivering it with the right text, right hook and right value. But reels are something we have to be sticking on.
In fact, we did an experiment on the same thing for reels. We shot a video with a very expensive camera. We shot the same thing with a mobile phone, just connected to a mic. In fact, the one shot on the mobile phone got more reach. That's crazy.
Everybody, even us, we scroll to the phone. We want something that's lighthearted.
Right.
We want a day to end very well or go very well. So either we go for entertainment or humor or something that we like, or we search for something. So when a bulk of information is sent through, they feel like such an information is coming our way, we definitely like grow. I don't have time.
I don't really have time to process that information.
Space, yeah.
Right.
So that is the way. So when they feel it is being shot lightly, they're like, okay, there's something that I can have a look through.
Clickbaiting. Is it good? Obviously, it's good to get more engagement momentarily, but is it good or bad in the long run?
For sure, it's bad. I am someone who doesn't feel that clickbaiting is one such good strategy for quality brands, I would say. People easily, the quality gets eroded easily when we are using the clickbait thing. Of course, views are going to be there, but gradually the quality and the confidence and the credibility of the brand loses. I think I'm someone who is pretty much against it. No, I have a question. So you guys are an agency. So what is your take on when you get yourself someone who is into content strategy and stuff for your clients? What do you exactly look for one such person?
So when we're hiring a person for content, we definitely, the first assignment that I give is write a short form content, write a long form content. The short form would be, let's say, an Instagram caption, something like that. What I would look at is currently SEO is a great deal for Instagram. So that is something that I would look like. Is she including keywords relating to the brand, relating to the product or service which is being posted. That is obviously the first thing that I look at. Long form is definitely in terms of readability. Is she breaking down paragraphs? Is she following does it have a structure at all? That are some things that I look at when we hire content people.
Content people, okay. So when it comes to brands, you guys have a bunch of brands, right? So how do you choose your sources? Like, do you keep the same same people for everything, or you assign different people for different things?
No, it's definitely randomizing people for everything. The person managing my social, I would also involve her in performance marketing for some other brand, so that she gets to learn some of that.
How important is numbers with an agency?
Uh,
Terms and statistics, ratio, and vagera.
So me as a performance marketer, I'm a person who completely relies on numbers. When we usually do ads for the first month, for any brand for the first month, we don't really keep targets because we're doing it for the first time. Obviously, we cannot keep targets, even though it was handled by another agency previously. We can't take numbers from that. So we specifically mentioned that the first month, even though we have a budget, the kind of outcome we can't really give you a number for that. But from the second month onwards, that is a clause that we put in. Second month onwards, we will have a very specific target number. Only if we keep a target the next month, we can go and say that, okay, previous month we're short of 20% for the target. So this month we're supposed to increase the target by 40%. So keeping numbers is really important for us to track progress of ourselves and the brand.
Does boosting posts actually matters, or is it how emphasizing it is?
I would say that boosting is one common mistake that all of the social media marketers make. You're never really supposed to boost a post, because if you want to increase the engagement on a specific post or you want to reach a specific audience, you're supposed to do it in the ads manager. The problem when boosting a post is that you're doing it from Instagram itself. The parameters are very limited. So if I want to get the maximum return on my ad spend, I would definitely do it from ads manager. When you're boosting your post from Instagram, it's very bad. Another problem while boosting your post on Instagram is that your reach really comes down, because Instagram understands that you're ready to spend money. And then what happens is that the next time you post, it will promote. So you probably start seeing notifications that, okay, post this post, you'll get so much engagement. Until that point of time, you won't see that notification.
So when brands talk about, like, when you approach a client and they ask you, how much do I need to spend for this amount of results? So how do you land to that answer? How do you answer that question?
When I get a question like that, the first question I ask the client is, how much revenue are you seeking to generate? So every brand, every company, they're supposed to have an annual operating plan, or called as AOP. So based on that, I will look at the revenue they want to generate. Then I would look at ad metrics. Let's say how much, what's the cost per impression, according to their particular ad account. Because it's very unique for each ad account. Okay, it's not unique, but it's different for each ad account, depending on the audience that I'm targeting, depending on regions, countries, cities, all of that. So depending on that, I will look at cost per impression, and I will look at the total audience size. So the total audience size that I've selected, maybe 2 million, 3 million. So according to that, the next thing I would look at is cost per impression. So this is what I'll need to spend to reach 1,000 people. And then the total audience size divided by that particular this thing or CPM, I'll get an idea of how much I'll need to spend in total. So the client can choose, approximate. So that would be the total money I had to spend to reach the total audience. The client can choose the frequency of that. I can spend the whole thing in 1 month. I can spend the whole thing over the next 6 months. So that pretty much answers your question.
Okay. So Zehran, what is that one tip that you would give as a performance marketer to get a qualified lead?
One thing that always helped me get more qualified leads is testing out with different audiences. So under the same campaign, I would have different ad groups. So let's say it would be very minor changes to the audience. It would be some ad sets would have differences in age group, one would have difference in location, one would have difference in the interest targeting there. So I will measure what ad group is giving me the most qualified leads, and I would ideally spend more on that ad group. That one tip has really helped me scale up qualified leads with the big budgets.
Okay, so I have another doubt with that. So consider healthcare. Okay, it's gonna be the same audience, but it's considered as a different packages for different purposes. Be it again gynecology on one side and aesthetic on the other side. So the audience is gonna be the same, or like how do you target that? Like how do you potentially pitch in two ways?
Not necessarily. So one product, ideally, one product would be under one campaign. So let's say gynecology, for example, would be one campaign, and let's say pediatrician would be one campaign. Under one campaign, I will have different audiences to see what audiences work best for me. That is the ideal approach. A lot of one big mistake that performance marketers do is they have everything under one campaign itself. It's very bad to do that. I've seen multiple times the same service in different countries. They have each country as an ad group. They're not supposed to do that because the metrics for countries change from country to country. Let's say the CPM in Australia is not the same as UAE or Saudi Arabia. It's very different. So you're supposed to have different campaigns for that. So even when it comes to product or services, each product or each service should ideally have a different campaign. And then under the campaign, we'll have different ad groups for testing out audiences to see what works best. What you've mentioned, if you want to serve to, let's say, different people, in that case also I would have different ad sets or ad groups. Let's say I'm looking for parents, for example, that would have a different parameter in terms of age and targeting. If I'm looking to attract students, that would have a different ad group with different parameters. So that is the ideal approach in the way I would go for setting up campaigns.
Okay, so why don't we see much of CGI videos these days? So
since it became a big thing, a lot of big brands started using CGI videos because the kind of reach was exemplary. Like the numbers that the videos generated was really nice. The engagement was really nice. The average watch time for that particular video was really nice. What happened since the inception of CGI videos is a lot of artists started learning 3D, started learning Blender, and eventually the cost of making CGI videos went up. It went to a point where brands couldn't afford it anymore. The only brands which can afford it are the big brands. Small or medium enterprises couldn't afford it anymore. That is why we are seeing lesser CGI videos nowadays.
So, being born and brought up in Saudi, what is the difference you feel for food in Dubai and food in Saudi?
I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but the food in Saudi versus the food in Dubai, UAE, is miles apart. Yeah. It's miles apart. You ask anybody residing in Saudi and they've come out to try. See, in UAE, there's a lot of cuisines. You get anything. Yeah. There's nothing you can't get in UAE. But the quality of food in Saudi, the I don't know how to explain that, but is it the flavor? Is it something? It's very different. There's this one place called Ghazi in my hometown, Khobar. It's Pakistani food. They have something called as chicken handi. One bite of that, and you literally, I've seen people, I've literally, when I'm eating, I see people, they close their eyes because they feel that the flavor. It's very rich in flavor. So that is something I see lacking in food in UAE. Probably again, but it's very different. It's food in Saudi. Even kabsa, you don't get kabsa here. Here it's majboos. Kabsa, there's this famous chain called Shuwait al Khalij. The kabsa there, you eat, you don't really have, you feel content. You feel that, you literally feel that, you smile after you eat. Here it's just you eat, you finish, okay, I'm done with and that's it. But the food, I don't know how, because it's just one country apart.
But maybe, see, when we talk about our food, like me being a Keralite, I would say I have an emotion for my food from Kerala. So maybe since you've been born and brought up in Saudi, you have the thing for.
We went for Umrah one time. I went with the guy from UAE. Like he's been UAE very recently, probably 6-7 months back. He's been in UAE all his life, and he's first time he's going to Saudi, going for Umrah. I took him to the Al-Baik, which is there in Medina.
I have had that.
And I was like, no, I don't want. The guy was like, I don't want Al-Baik. I've had Al-Baik in UAE. No, thanks. I was like, no, that is not Al-Baik. That is something else. Come try this.
It's different.
He tried that, and he's like, bro, this is not what we have in UAE. Like I was like, yeah, exactly the same thing. So from that, I understood that okay, it's not something that I have because I was born here or something. There is something I don't really know how to explain that. Can you be a content writer entirely depending on ChatGPT or any of the AI tools?
See, content writing, it's different from copywriting. Content is all about long form, and the message that you're going to convey through content is different from what we convey through copy. We can use ChatGPT to get information in general, or maybe a structure in general, but there is no humanization in it. There is no voice of tone in it.
But you probably heard of ChatGPT 4.0.
Yeah.
That is as human as it can be.
I can bet you.
Okay.
People can still understand. I mean, people with brains can still understand.
Okay.
I mean, it might sound the other way.
Yeah, but let's say I'm entering a prompt, for example. Give me 5 viral hooks for my Instagram.
They do give, but the same hooks you can see in 100 people's account. So it's no way gonna be, a brand has this emotion. I always believe there is this methodology called storytelling methodology in writing, and an emotional, concisable writing. So if a brand loses that thing, we can still easily figure out any social media post written with ChatGPT captions. You can, right? Anybody can. It will look all the same. Elevate your game, ignite your game, unlock your game. It's gonna be like that, and anybody knows that. So I'm not gonna throw hate on ChatGPT. We writers still take reference from it for structures or things like that, just like any designers do. They take references from, they take Free Pick, they take Elementor, Envato. I'm sorry, it's Envato. So there is reference thing happening, but the writing and emotions, it's a whole different story.
You're saying that the uniqueness is what sets content writers apart.
Of course, it's going to be different. We have AI generated designers, designed posts that's coming around. So you can still find the difference, right?
True.
So I've seen brands who literally say that we don't want AI. We want real human values in what we provide and what we emanate our brand as. So respect for all that, and we still have work, man, plentiful of work, who still wants real-time copywriters. So heads up, people, I would say if you want to be a copywriter, Ore Shamul. That is no, what do we call, ChatGPT has taken over. Maybe you have seen people who rely on ChatGPT, but it's not the case with brands who actually emanate value in what they deliver.
Right.
So,
what's the job market for content writers at the moment in Dubai?
So it's there, but people are looking for much more a comprehensive package where people can do content writing, do social media, do content creation, and a package of everything. But there are still brands who look up for specialized content writer for their brand. So there's a mix of both. But landing to a good and right space is very important. So in my case, I have dealt with both kind of clients. The reason why I got gradually from a copywriter to gradually into social media is because for being a copywriter and content writer, you need to be a marketer of yourselves. We need to know the marketing terms. We need to know the marketing language itself. So when we dive into one such of a concept and one whole pool of things, we gradually becomes more into social media. See, I just like what I've done here.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you guys. Have a nice day.